Hey, before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more real-life stories you won't believe. My name is Mildred, and when I was 28, I paid for my sister's dream wedding, thinking I was doing something wonderful. But on the day of the wedding, I discovered I wasn't even invited. I didn't make a scene. I just walked away. And 3 hours later, her calls wouldn't stop. The notifications kept popping up on my phone. If you've ever felt betrayed by the people who were supposed to have your back, tell me where you're watching from. That morning, I was sitting in my car about to head to the venue, scrolling through my messages, expecting something, maybe a last-minute request from my sister, maybe a panicked call from the wedding planner. But instead, there it was, a text from my sister, sent just hours before the ceremony. Hey, Mildred, I wanted to talk to you before today, but things got so busy. I hope you understand, but we had to finalize the guest list and decided to only invite couples to keep things balanced. I know you get it. Let's celebrate after the honeymoon. Love you. I stared at the screen, gripping my phone so hard I thought I might break it. I read the message over and over. Really? Only couples? The words swam in front of my eyes as I tried to process it. I wasn't invited to the wedding I had paid for. For months, I had been at her beck and call. I had put my own life on hold, draining thousands of dollars from my savings to give her the wedding of her dreams. And now, at the very last moment, she was telling me I wasn't important enough to be there. I could barely breathe. I had given up so much, more than anyone knew. I had postponed my own vacation, the first real trip I'd planned in years, to cover unexpected wedding expenses. I had delayed buying a new car, even though mine was barely holding together, just so I could pay the final venue deposit. I had taken extra shifts, worked late nights, skipped outings with friends, all so she wouldn't have to worry about money. When she called in tears about expensive florists, I told her, "Don't worry, I'll handle it." When catering costs spiraled, I didn't hesitate to pull out my credit card, saying, "You deserve the best. I've got this." I had organized her bachelorette party, paid for decorations, and even bought her dream wedding dress when she realized she couldn't afford it. And through all of it, she had hugged me, looked me in the eyes, and called me the best sister in the world. Never once did she hint I wasn't on the guest list. Never once warned me. And now, hours before the ceremony, she had the nerve to text me as if it were no big deal, like casually mentioning a schedule change, while I was outside the venue, ready to celebrate her, completely unaware that she had already decided I wasn't welcome. I squeezed my eyes shut, my pulse racing. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the humiliation. Everyone inside that stunning venue, laughing, enjoying themselves, while I, the one who made it all possible, was shut out. People would ask, "Where's Mildred?" and be fed some lie. And my sister? She did it knowingly, without a single pang of guilt. She hadn't even had the decency to call me. I exhaled shakily, knuckles white on the steering wheel. I could have stormed in, demanded answers, caused a scene. But deep down, I knew she didn't deserve it. She didn't deserve my reaction. She didn't deserve to see how much she had hurt me. And I wasn't going to sit in that parking lot crying over her choices. I took one last look at the guests arriving in their elegant attire, completely unaware of my absence. Then, without a word, I put the car in drive and left. She wanted a perfect wedding. She could have it without me. Growing up, Lily was always the favorite. The charming, bubbly little sister everyone loved. Effortlessly popular. Able to talk her way out of anything. Me, I was the opposite. Shy, awkward, never knowing the right thing to say. Always out of place. Even in elementary school, it was obvious. Lily came home from school thrilled about birthday parties, play dates, new best friends. I sat at the kitchen table pretending not to care that my invitations never came. By middle school, the contrast was even sharper. Lily was the girl everyone wanted to be around, pretty, confident, funny. Teachers adored her. Parents called her a delight. Me, I was already labeled weird, boring, the girl no one wanted to sit with. I wasn't mean. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just invisible, or worse, whispered about. By high school, it escalated. I wasn't just ignored, I was actively avoided. Small humiliations, like spilled drinks on my homework, anonymous notes in my locker, whispers and giggles whenever I walked in. I tried not to let it get to me, kept my head down, focused on school, telling myself it didn't matter. But the worst part? Lily pretended not to see me. At home, we were sisters. We'd talk, laugh, and swap stories. She'd sneak into my room, borrow my clothes, ask for my advice about boys, and spill every bit of drama from her friend group. But at school, I might as well have been invisible. I still remember the first time it really hit me. I was walking down the hallway, juggling a stack of books, when someone deliberately stuck out their foot. I stumbled and everything scattered. Books, papers, my pride. A bunch of kids laughed. I was on my hands and knees, scrambling to gather my things, my face burning, my throat tight with humiliation. And then I saw her, Lily, just a few feet away. She saw me. I know she did. Our eyes met for a brief moment, and I swear I caught a flicker on her face. Pity? Guilt? Maybe. But do you know what she did? Nothing. She just turned, walked away, didn't say a word, didn't help, didn't even acknowledge I was there. And that was it. In that moment, I knew. I was the sister she pretended didn't exist at school, so she could keep her perfect image intact. After that, I stopped expecting anything from her. For years, I convinced myself I was fine with it. Then high school ended. Everything changed. I went to college, started over, worked hard, built a career, became independent. And Lily? She grew up too, or so I thought. She started acting nicer, more thoughtful. She called me when she needed advice, texted me when she was struggling, even offered a half-hearted apology about high school. You know how it goes. It's just high school, Mildred. We were all immature back then. I believed her. I told myself we're adults now. That chapter doesn't matter anymore. But sitting alone, staring at that text saying I wasn't invited to her wedding because I didn't have a date, I realized the truth. Nothing had changed. She still didn't want to be connected to me. She still didn't think I deserved to be included. She was still keeping her distance, making excuses, making sure I wasn't seen at her perfect event. And the worst part? I had let myself believe we were close again. I had given her everything. I had funded the most important day of her life. And in return, she did the exact same thing she did years ago. She turned her back on me. I exhaled, fist tightening. Not this time. This time, I wasn't letting it slide. She wasn't going to pretend I didn't exist while taking advantage of my generosity. This time, she would learn what it means to shut me out. The calls started that very night. At first, I ignored them. Lily's name flashed on my phone as I sat curled on my couch, sipping a glass of wine I poured myself after getting home. It was supposed to be a celebration, just not hers. The first call rang out. Then the second. By the seventh missed call, I knew she had realized. I didn't check my messages immediately. I wanted to savor it the moment she understood she couldn't just use me and discard me like always. I thought back to the day she got engaged. She called, screaming with joy, insisting I would be her maid of honor. She couldn't do it without me, she said. She included me in every decision, except apparently the guest list. She let me fund the dream wedding, handle the planning, pay for things she wanted but couldn't afford, and then she didn't even consider me important enough to be there. She thought a last-minute text and a fake apology would soften the blow. She thought I'd let it slide like I always had. Not this time. I picked up my phone and scrolled through the unread messages. Lily, hey, where are you? Lily, Mildred, please pick up. This is really serious. Lily, I know you're mad, but you don't understand. Everything is going wrong. Good. I smirked as I opened the thread, scrolling through her increasingly frantic texts. Lily, the venue won't let us in. They never got the full payment. The deposit was reversed. Lily, where are you? Lily, the caterer isn't here. We tried calling them. They say the final payment never went through. Lily, did you do something? My smirk widened. Oh, Lily, not something. Everything. One simple phone call. After driving away from the venue, after reading that text saying I wasn't invited, I had made one call to my bank. Hi, I'd like to dispute some charges on my credit card. Yes, those ones. The venue, catering, florals. I didn't receive these services and need to cancel them immediately. That was it. Every payment I had made for her wedding, gone. Every vendor, covered. Every plan, crashed. I was expecting my money, and yet Lily was scrambling elsewhere, desperately trying to cover her expenses. The entire wedding was unraveling right before her eyes. I could only picture what that chaos looked like. Lily walked into the venue, expecting everything to be perfect, only to find a locked door and a manager telling her that the final payment hadn't been made. She waited endlessly for the catering truck that never arrived. The flowers never showed up. The DJ canceled at the last second. Guests whispered among themselves, confused and concerned about why everything was falling apart. I could almost hear the shame in her voice as she tried to explain, to fix the mess, to pin the blame on someone else. But there was no one else, because the only person who had actually paid for this wedding had stepped away. And now, panic had set in. The phone rang again. This time I answered. I barely managed a hello before Lily's voice burst through, loud and sharp. Mildred, what did you do? I pulled the phone slightly away, wincing at her sheer volume. Lily, I said, calm and collected. You're going to have to be more specific. Her breathing was heavy, like she just sprinted a marathon, or more accurately, spent the last hour running around in total panic, trying to fix a disaster she couldn't even understand. The wedding, the venue, the caterer, everything is falling apart, she spat. I replied, leaning back on my couch. That sounds terrible. Don't play dumb. I know it was you. I tilted my head. Lily, what exactly are you accusing me of? You canceled everything. I sighed dramatically. I don't really know what to tell you. I wasn't invited, so technically it wasn't my business, was it? There was a brief, stunned silence. I could almost hear her scrambling for words, trying to twist this into my fault. And then, unbelievably, she changed her approach. Okay, I get it. You're mad. But just fix this, and I'll invite you to the reception. Call the vendors, pay them again, and we'll pretend none of this ever happened. I almost laughed out loud. So now, after everything had gone completely wrong, after she'd humiliated herself in front of everyone, she needed me to rescue her. I let a long pause hang in the air before speaking. You know what, Lily? I said, my tone light. You made it clear I wasn't important enough to be at your wedding. So why would my money be? Mildred. Don't, she started, but I hung up. Within seconds, texts began pouring in. Lily, are you serious? Lily, you ruined my wedding. Lily, how could you do this to me? I smiled, setting my phone down. Oh, Lily, you ruined your wedding the moment you decided I wasn't worthy of being there. I just made sure my money wasn't either. For the first time, I didn't feel like the girl left out. I felt like the girl who had finally walked away. By morning, over 20 unread messages were waiting. I sipped my coffee lazily, scrolling as the panic unfolded in real time. Lily, you don't understand what you've done. Lily, this isn't just about me. You embarrassed the whole family. Lily, Mom and Dad are furious. Lily, I hope you're happy. Lily, you destroyed the most important day of my life. I exhaled slowly. I had expected that last one. I knew Lily, how her mind worked. And I knew in her head she wasn't sorry. Not for using me, not for taking my money, not for deciding I wasn't good enough to be there. She was only sorry that it backfired. Just as I anticipated, she ran to Mom and Dad, ready to rewrite the story so I looked like the villain. My phone rang. I debated ignoring it, but that would only escalate things. I took a deep breath and picked up. Mildred, Mom's voice was sharp, disappointed, carrying the weight of an argument she thought she'd already won. What did you do to your sister? I laughed softly. I don't know, Mom. What did Lily tell you I did? She said you sabotaged her wedding, that you took back all the payments just to punish her. I pressed my fingers to my temple. She didn't tell you why, did she? Just a brief pause, enough to know the answer. Of course, Lily left that out. She probably made it sound like I acted out of pure spite. But she didn't mention the truth. I wasn't even invited. Mom, I said. Clenching my jaw, Lily made her choice. She decided I wasn't welcome at her wedding. So I made sure my money wasn't there either. Seems fair to me. No, she started, but I cut her off. I am done being treated like I don't matter. I spent months helping Lily plan that wedding. I paid for everything. I sacrificed time, money, and my own plans to give her the perfect day. And she still decided I wasn't good enough to be there. For the first time, Mom had nothing to say. Lily had crossed a line even she couldn't justify. I am done fixing things. Done being the backup plan. Done being taken advantage of. If Lily wants to play the victim, that's her problem, but I won't apologize for standing up for myself. She sighed. So that's it? You're just cutting your sister out. I thought of high school, the time she pretended I didn't exist, every time she used me, every time I was last priority. I thought of this wedding, the lies, the empty promises, the betrayal, and I knew my answer. No, Mom, I said calmly. Lily cut me out the moment she decided I wasn't important enough to be there. I hung up. Relief hit me instantly, like a weight lifted off my chest. For the first time in years, I wasn't chasing, fixing, or compromising. I was done, and it felt incredible. That night, I blocked Lily's number. I didn't care what else she had to say. I wasn't sorry. Not for canceling the payments, not for ruining the wedding, and not for finally putting myself first.